All right. So now we're going to be talking about how to record guitar. So there's two main ways, right? You can use a microphone or you can use the digital pickups that are already in the guitar. First, let's talk about the microphone. All right, so there's different mics, different ways to record your guitar. Most typically, you'll use a unidirectional condenser microphone, right? It's highly sensitive and it's pointed directly at the source. It's very clean, has a natural sound, usually is recorded separately because it's going to pick up other sounds from the room. So it's typically just the guitar in a room and pointed directly at the guitar. Location, location, location. Where you place that microphone on the guitar. If you put it right on the sound hole, it's going to sound horrible. It sounds boomy and bassy, and it sounds really bad. If you have it too far up the neck, it sounds very tinny, and it sounds fake. So you want to find like a sound, usually between like the 14th fret and the sound holes, a space somewhere right around there is a good spot. Another option is using an omnidirectional condenser microphone. And what this is doing, it's recording the whole room, right? It's basically you're playing guitar in a space and it records the whole room. It's super clean, has a natural sound, it has overtones, it has natural reverb. It sounds like what the guitar would sound in that space. Again, location, location, location. Where you place that microphone in the room has a different sound. If you place it in the corner, it's going to have a lot of weird bouncing sounds off the corner. And it needs to be absolutely quiet. There's one time I was working in a studio and was recording a guitar, and I wear socks. Usually when I'm recording, I just wear, it's just more comfortable. And I was moving my foot on the floor, and you could hear the sock movement in the microphone. Or if you're tapping your foot to keep rhythm, you'll hear that tap. So you need to be absolutely still, absolutely quiet, but it sounds beautiful, right? It absolutely needs to be recorded separately. There's no other way that you could record that guitar with other instruments unless they're in separate rooms if you want that clean sound. All right, so pros, sounds very good, right? If you record your guitar with a mic, that's how you get the most natural sound. Cons, you have to be very quiet. It's hard to record in a session, right? You usually have to have a location. You usually need separate microphones because you're not using those type of microphones to record vocals. So you need a specific microphone to record the guitar or other instruments, unless you're recording a session. So if you're using that omnidirectional to record the whole room of a choir and you're playing guitar or a group, you can use that omnidirectional. In my opinion, not the best option in music therapy sessions. But if you're doing personal recording, your own personal music, this would be the best way for you to record your guitar. The other option is using the pickups that are already in your guitar. So you would use your guitar out of your guitar, instead of plugging into an amp, you would plug in to a USB interface. Some foot pedals already come with USB connectivity, meaning you could plug in your guitar and from your foot pedal straight into your computer. And there's also, like I said, a guitar cable with USB connectivity. So it plugs straight into your guitar and then straight into your USB port. All right, so what are guitar pickups? Two main types. You have your piezo pickups, which is a mechanical energy. It's actually recording the vibrations either of the strings or of the guitar. So that little plastic piece is usually sitting underneath your bridge. So if you have a guitar that plugs in, if you look underneath the bridge, you usually see like a little plastic piece, and that's a piezo pickup. The other one is magnetic pickups, and you see this traditionally with electric guitars, right? So on the left is usually your acoustic guitars. On your right would be your electric guitars, and it's magnetic energy. So magnetic pickups, really quickly, those little dots are actually little magnets. And as the string vibrates on top of them, it's moving a different magnetic field. And the vibration gets transmitted through the cable. And that's how each one has, if you take like a quarter and tap it, it makes a loud sound because it's actually a little magnet. What a humbucker does is basically a single coil upside down. So there's two of them and they cancel each other out. exactly like an XLR cable. So they're polar opposites. And so that polar opposites reduce any hum. And so you get a nice clean sound. So it usually sounds a little cleaner. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So recording guitar with a USB cable. The pros. The audio signal is digital. Can be easily manipulated. Can be recorded in a loud room. You could be sitting in the middle of a loud room and record your guitar, and only the guitar would be heard through that cable. It's fairly cheap to maintain, easy to store and carry with you. The cons. Can only record one person at a time. So if you're working with a patient or a client that wants to sing along with you, you're going to have to use another way if you're trying to record that patient singing at the same time. If the patient or client can sing along to a guitar track, you might want to use a USB cable, because then you can have a nice clean guitar track for the patient or client to sing on top of. It's not a true natural sound. You don't have any of the overtones or reverbs. Everything has to be digitally manipulated afterwards. All right. So you recording with a USB interface, right? You can have multiple inputs. You could have a guitar or a line or a piano or whatever on one, and the XLR. You can have separate controls for each input. So you could be recording the guitar on the, say, channel 1, and recording the vocals on channel 2, and you could record both simultaneously at the same time if you're working with a patient or client. You can have a headphone jack or a line out. Usually has phantom power, so you can use that for any type of condenser microphone. And you could record multiple tracks at the same time. This is my favorite recording live music in a session. If I'm going to try to record live music working with a patient, I'm going to use my USB interface, because they can hear my guitar live in the space. We can sing along, and I can adjust my tempo or adjust my rhythm based on what they're singing. And that's my best way. The other option is using digital devices, right? Tablets, phones, MP3 recorders. They're quick, easy, pretty decent quality. However, they're omnidirectional. You can't point it at anything. You're recording the room. You can purchase mics to hook up to iPads or phones, and they're actually getting better. It's usually MP3 quality, but the DAWs are very limited. So the GarageBand or anything that you would manipulate the sound with is very limited on those devices. However, it's perfect for some applications. Say you weren't ready to record, you didn't know you're going to record, but you have your tablet with you and you're working with a patient and you start working on a song, you want to quickly record it, you start recording it with your iPad, and you've captured that moment, right? So some devices, it's a perfect application for some things. All right. So this is a little more advanced. What if you want to record a digital file, a file that's already living on your computer? There's a device called Soundflower, or it's a program. Another one, Audacity, virtual audio cable, etc. I was going to quickly show you what it means. So on your main output of your computer, you set it to Soundflower. Then your recording program input, so say you're using GarageBand, you want the input to be set to Soundflower. So the computer goes out to Soundflower, the program takes it in from Soundflower, and then the recording program output is to your main output or your headphones. And that's how you can record the sound through GarageBand or whatever DAW you're using. It records every sound your computer makes. So if you get a notification, it's going to record that. If you get a beep or anything, it's going to record that. It's 1-to-1 time, meaning if you're trying to record a 5-minute piece of file, it's going to take 5 minutes to record that file. You can connect to a USB or even using a microphone input. Different ways. Whatever sound is coming through your computer, this will pick it up. All right. Last, I just want to show you, if I was to approach sound capturing, how would you get the most bang for your buck, right? first thing I would probably purchase is considering you already have a microphone. Most people have some type of microphone already. My first purchase would be a USB interface, right? At least with 2 inputs, has to have an output and a phantom power. Usually right around $100, you can get a nice entry-level USB interface. And then you can use so many things with that USB interface. They do sell these cool devices where you could plug in your microphone and you could plug that microphone now into your computer. I do not recommend those. They sound horrible. They're glitchy. Any kind of crackle or pop gets put right through into your computer and it sounds bad. So I do not recommend those. Then a better microphone, right? What are you recording? USB guitar cable. If you're doing a lot of recording with patients, I bought mine for I think $35 or $40 and it plugs straight in. I use it probably more than anything else. It can be used a lot. Then maybe you want to step up to a better DAW. Logic, Pro Tools, Sonar. Just depends if you're using PC or Mac. So that was basically what I would probably use. And then if you're doing a lot of sound sampling or you start stepping into using MIDI, then you might want to step up to a keyboard or MIDI. So if I was to approach sound recording, this is how I would approach gathering these different items for sound recording. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day.